Hey out there, legal warriors. A question I often get is, can the police lie to you? Do the police have to tell you the truth, or can they lie to you to try to get what they want? If you're interested in that area of the law, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 20 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need. Now I'm just going to jump right into it. Do you ever watch, movies, old movies where someone might, come up to an undercover officer? Maybe it's a prostitution sting or something like that. And it's like, well, are you a cop? They say to the decoy, and the cop says, no, I'm not a cop. I'd have to tell you if I was a cop. And the character's like, oh, yeah, you would. And then, of course, that's a cop, and the person gets arrested. And that might be the limit of our knowledge to most of us lay people out there that aren't attorneys about an amount of education, some movie we might have seen about whether or not police officers are allowed to lie to us. And I don't know about you, but I have went through periods of time where I watch a whole lot of interrogation videos and other things on YouTube. You think I would want to get away from it, but it can be educational for if I'm ever dealing with an interrogation situation. But if you watch those videos, you might have learned that it's pretty common for police officers to lie, to try to get suspects to admit to things. And let's take a look at what I think the status of the law is. I'm not going to get into the fine details because it's different in every state. It's different in Washington State. It's different in Georgia. It's different under federal law. But the general rule of thumb is that an officer is allowed to use subterfuge. They're allowed to lie, to get somebody to say an admission to a crime. A classic example might be, hey, Mr. Smith, we know you're at the scene. We already know what happened. We have it all on video. And Mr. Smith is going to say, well, show me the video. And the officer might say, well, we don't have to show you the video. And there is no video. They're allowed to claim there's a video to see if Mr. Smith will now admit to the crime. Well, I'm on video. They know I did it. I might as well say I did it to get lenient treatment. If a defense attorney brought a motion to suppress that evidence, the admission that Mr. Smith did it, based upon the lie the officer told, in almost all circumstances, that motion to suppress the evidence would be denied because it was just sort of a routine lie. Officers are allowed to tell mistruths to try to secure admissions from suspects. And the justification is we need to fight crime, right? The justification is we're not overbearing the free will of the suspect by simply lying to them. And that's a clue, right? The fact I said that's a clue. There is a line that the officers at some point cannot cross, right? An officer cannot wear someone down so much over such a 6-hour, 8-hour, some period of interrogation where the confession now becomes involuntary or a coerced confession. And you might have seen, stuff on documentaries or TV where an innocence project of some type might be trying to get someone declared innocent by making arguments that, hey, they use such coercive tactics. There's so much deprivation of freedom, so many lies, so much threats and things that are happened that now that whatever the suspect said cannot be trusted because we all have a breaking point, right? At some point, we will say what we need to say to get an interrogation to stop. It's one reason why people that are tortured, we generally can't use their admissions for the most part, because we can't trust what they're saying because they'll say whatever they need to stop the physical torture. That's why torture is not allowed, at least in most places, right? So where else can the officers lie that we might, not expect is permissible? Well, they could lie to some degree even during a traffic stop, right? They can say, I got you on radar speeding when they don't have you on radar speeding. Right? Would that suppress their observations? No. And why do I keep saying suppress? Well, the consequences, for the most part, for illegal action of an officer is not necessarily dismissal of a case. It's suppression of the evidence that their illegal action produced, what evidence did their illegal action produce? It's called fruit of the poisonous tree. You may have heard of that. In other words, if an officer, illegally enters someone's house and they see, the goods from the bank robbery in the house and they entered illegally, well, if a motion to suppress is granted because they entered illegally, the punishment to the government is not the government agent going to jail. It's the loss of the evidence, the fact that that bag of money was in that house. They couldn't enter legally. So, yes, the officers are allowed to lie, but they can't lie to the degree where it overbears the free will of someone. And that's basically a case-by-case basis. But for the most part, they are allowed to do that. Now, it's not carte blanche. I think it's a pretty strong argument they can't lie and say they have a search warrant when they don't, right? If they say they have a search warrant, and therefore you let them in because they claim you had a search warrant, they can't lie about that because now they're illegally entering your home without a search warrant, and your consent, therefore, to their entry would be illegal because that's a coerced consent. You're not really consenting to entry in that case because they're saying a judge says, I get to enter no matter what you say. Okay, so hopefully we don't see that case very often, but there will be a situation where the lie can invalidate consent that was given by you if it's an extreme situation. So, Lance, do you think most officers will lie to you? I think during a standard interrogation of a sort of a normal level crime, isn't a murder or something like that. My experience with officers is they will, generally stick to what they know. We don't see a lot of officers trying to purposely mislead and misdirect. But the focus of this video is, are they allowed to? Yes, they are. And I think for the most part, it would be thought of as good police work to use the proper type of lying, fibbing, whatever we want to say, to try to get to the truth from their point of view. And if you ask about lying and think about lie detector tests or stuff like that, many times why an officer, in my opinion, wants a lie detector test is not so they can actually judge what happened in the lie detector test because it's not admissible. It's another way to extend the questioning and ask questions of somebody that can sort of make them think that they have evidence that they don't have, which will lead to further confessions and admissions later. So, black and white, yes, the officers can lie to us. There's a limit of what they can do and what they can't. Certain types of lies will automatically invalidate certain actions. But, 9 times out of 10, a motion to suppress based upon an officer lying to a suspect as part of interrogation, that's probably not going to get the defense very far. So I hope this is useful. Hopefully you're never in this situation. Regardless, if you find it useful, please like, please subscribe. More people get to see it. More importantly, if you have a criminal problem in Washington State, that's where my law firm is located, feel free to reach out to my firm. We get on board, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.